There was a joint meeting between Georgetown City Council and the Board of Directors of the Georgetown Housing Authority Tuesday evening to discuss affordable housing. In particular, the talks centered around an 8-acre vacant field that is located next to the Housing Authority office on Lincoln Street. Last year, it was announced by local developer Will Moody the tract was going to be the site for new housing called the Marquee Complex, to consist of 2 family buildings and 2 senior buildings. The buildings were to be 3 stories high. Each building would have approximately 40 apartments. However, in March of this year, it was announced the plans were squashed because the board of the Georgetown Housing Authority voted to not sell the land. Tuesday night was the first time the decision by the Housing Authority Board was discussed with City Council. Caleb Moyer, chairman of the Housing Authority Board, said the plans that were presented to the Housing Authority last year by Moody were somewhat different than the plans presented to City Council by Moody. He said one of his many concerns about the plans presented by Moody was that it showed a road from the new development going through the adjacent property owned by the South Carolina Department of Transportation, something, he said, cannot happen.
And he came in with a proposal, and the proposal as he presented to us was not necessarily the same proposal he presented to City Council later on. But he asked us to take our property that we have kind of right behind y'all and declare it surplus and donate it to the city to be sold. And was going to put in 160 units, I believe, through what do you call that? Tax credit. Yes, a tax credit program that was specific one he used, and it would guarantee that at least 40% of the units in the facility remain below 50% fair market or income limit, not fair market rate, but income limit for 15 years. But no other provisions were on there besides that 15-year provision. Was the way that we saw it.
Housing Authority Board member Nate Fatta said there is a lot of federal bureaucracy red tape to untangle when dealing with public housing and the property.
So one of the challenges that we have is that a lot of the land is encumbered with a mortgage with HUD. So there is a regulatory hurdle, which is a little more cumbersome than just going to get the mortgage satisfied at the Registry of Deeds office, whereby we have to first go to HUD, say this is the deal. We want to get rid of land. You have a mortgage on it, and we still owe you money. So there's that initial challenge. It is a bureaucratic challenge, and nothing's going to be very quick about it. My personal view of the proposal, I'm speaking of me, is that when I look at this property and our mission at GHA, I'm looking at what is the best use for that property and how can we achieve that. And I didn't necessarily think taking the land and giving it to a developer. I equate it to more like the donut holes taken out of the donut, because this is a property that has a lot of consistent characteristics. And so if you add a donut hole that is totally different with a 3 or 4 story building and it's new and it's got different features, we have families and we're going to have, where's the green space? That gets into a lot of, for me, issues with the overall scheme for GHA and this particular area that we need to consider going forward beyond 15 years.
After nearly an hour of discussion, Moyer said the Housing Authority Board is happy to speak again with Moody or any developer about the property.
We are open to have the conversation with any developer. There's a lot of options. There are housing authorities that do partnerships, public-private partnerships, and do land leases. There's ones that end up create a 501c3 and manage the properties for the developers. There's a lot of options out there, and we're not closing the doors on anything.
After the meeting, Georgetown County Council Chairman Louis Morant and Georgetown Mayor Carol Jarrow both said they were leaving the session satisfied that the Housing Authority Board is willing to entertain proposals for affordable housing on the site.
Yeah, well, my concern basically is that from hearing all the innuendos that were going around the county, I just want to make sure that the property is not being completely eliminated as a possibility for housing being built in those particular tracts. And that's what's my concern.
So did you get those questions answered?
Yeah, the question was answered. They said the property can be utilized for workforce housing or some other type of affordable housing on this particular site. And that's really was my concern.
Well, this is a great organization. They are trying to be good stewards of their property and being very thoughtful about what needs to happen here, and are very open to suggestions and conversations with developers.
What comes next after this meeting?
It's for the Housing Authority Board to decide for the highest and best use for this property and perhaps entertain some developers. And I think the word will get out that they're willing to. And as one of the board members said, he said, I'd like to have 10 developers come see me.